Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. This is an insanely good song, super well produced and very catchy. I'm going to remake the song from scratch to dive into how it's made, how you would go about making something like this if you want your music to sound like that, and just sharing some common production techniques that are used in this style. If that all sounds good to you, like and subscribe and watch the video. Here we go. So I'm just going to start at the very beginning and we'll pick sounds, recreate them until we have a full arrangement made. Okay, two things happening here. We have that chopped vocal thing and we have a pad underneath. So I'm going to start with those two things. Also, we got to get tempo. And it feels like it's in 3. 1, 2, 3. So we will start in 3. Change. It's weird. It's like a different tempo and time signature, and then it goes into the regular thing. Cool. I'm going to pull up a piano just to figure out what's going on melodically. So that's what's going on there. It goes A, B, C. It's in the key of G. So we need the vocal chop thing, for lack of a better term. So I'm going to just layer a bunch of weird vocal sounding synths and samples, and then there's definitely some sort of tremolo or chopping thing going on. So I'm going to pull up Contact. I use Contact 7 because it all works on my machine. And I know I really like Glaze for this. Glaze is like a vocal sample playground kind of thing. So we probably need some sort of pluck type thing. That's a great start. I'm going to layer another one in the same instance of Contact. I like to do this just to kind of thicken up my sounds and get a level of difference happening. So I'm going to click and drag out there to add another one. I'm going to mute my first one and find another cool sound. Let's do another pluck. That's not bad. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot, actually. There's like a changing vowel type of thing that happens. I'll play it. Okay, so let me get a second sound in there. So we'll call this glaze vocal. My whole production strategy is lots of layers just to give myself kind of a different sound and, you know, make things thicker. So I'm going to do like a voice. So let's see what we got here. Yeah. Okay, so I just want this to attack a little faster. So this is in Alchemy. So I'm going to go look around for attack. And I'm going to make this faster. Cool. There's a long release, so I'm going to shorten that up a little bit. And that reverb is ridiculous. All right, here we go. So both of those together. Okay. And then I'm going to group these up, track stack them. Whatever program you're using would have a different process for this. But I'm just grouping them up so I can put one tremolo on it. And what's tremolator sound like? We definitely want 16th. Okay, the low one's a little loud. Pull it back, and I don't want this. And then I'm also going to add a little compressor just to smooth out those stabs. All right, let's track it. We're getting somewhere. We'll get all this, quantize it real quick, and whatever. This low one, I actually want it to play every single note. That'll give it more of a every single 16th kind of chop. Okay, so now we're gonna get the pad that's doing kind of the chord support. So it goes to 4, to 1. So I'm just gonna confirm the right voicings. I think the last time it stays on that D on that 5. Let me confirm. Okay, it cuts out. For the synth, I want to use UAD Polymax. Whoops, in stereo. Yeah, that'll get us right there really quick. And so I want the second oscillator in there, but I want it up the octave with the first one. We just want it really thick. Yeah, okay. So pull down the cutoff to roll off those highs, a little bit of resonance, get it kind of juicy. Let's add chorus on chorus. Let's just make it a little thicker. And let's add some hall here. I like to listen to see what voice in the chord is on the top, because that'll help me figure out how to voice the, like where to put the notes, if that makes sense. So it goes. Try to listen for that on top of the chords. Yeah. So that voicing. So I'm going to go ahead and record that. So this pad that we did kind of needs to open up as it goes. So I'm going to automate the filter cutoff. So whatever program you're using, you'll want to get into the automation window. Automation is basically change over time, and some DAWs have different names for it. But I'm going to go to the filter cutoff here, and we'll find a good starting point. And then I want it done by there. And I like snap because then it gets right where it needs to go. I went to the wrong voicing here. That needs to go up the octave. Cool. That's sounding good. I want just a little more size on this synth in general. It feels weak. Let's add a little bit of noise. All right, right there, things are happening. So we got a kick. And right there, it switches to 4/4 and the new time, the new tempo. So, okay. So let's find that new tempo. We're switching to 4/4. And it gets a lot faster. Probably like 128, like almost classic dance beat. It's a little fast. Let's try 122. In the middle, 25. Yeah, cool. Okay, the meat and potatoes of this, there's definitely a kick drum. And specifically, it almost sounds like the top of the kick drum has like a crushed, like bit crusher kind of sound. So I'm going to pull up XO, which is a favorite of mine from Excellent Audio. It does drum sample organization, and you can make a drum kit. So that's actually really close right off the bat. I'm going to heart that or shortlist that or whatever it's called. Crap, I lost it. I like that one. Load it. So there's definitely a kick right there. Cool. And then notice the delays on our synth changed. So I'm just going to hard cut these. So I'm going to automate the volume down as soon as that hits. So it's just like nothing. Cool. And there is a kick on 1 and 4, it sounds like there. And I'll just double check. Okay, so there's a kick on, I'm going to come back to this section because once we have our other sounds, it'll be easier to fill this in. But it starts with 4 on the floor. So I'm going to get some of that in there. And I'm going to quantize this right to the grid. And I want this pretty locked in, pretty consistent, because this is an electronic thing. So I don't want a lot of back and forth as far as the timing of the notes. And I don't want the velocities different. Okay, and now we got to find a snare. Oh, not yet, we don't. Here it comes. It's a chunky snare. Chunky snare with a nice top. Oh, that's really good. I'm going to put that in a flex just so I have it. We got to zoom in here. That's not bad. Welcome to music production. All about finding the right sample. Oh, I like that. Done. We just need a little less kick, a little more snare. You always need a clap with this kind of thing. That's actually pretty good. So I'll go ahead and load that. Cool. That's a great start. Cool. So same chord progression. We just need a big bass that is big and fun. So I'm going to pull up Silent for this. This is a 2010s classic. I found it because I was looking up a Zed tutorial back in the day, and he was using it, and I really like it. Okay, so we want one waveform as the absolute bottom. So I'm going to do this and pull it down an octave. Right. Next, I want some saw, at least one or two voices. Maybe two. I'm going to put a MIDI effects arpeggiator here, and it's going to be set to triplets. Cool, we're getting there. I'm going to roll down the cutoff a little bit. So this gets a little weird. Need a low pass. Might want to make this 4 voices. So now I want to make the filter open and close on every single hit, right? So we're going to come down here, and actually we could just go, we're going to go amp envelope, which is this right here, and we want this to control filter. We'll do cutoff A and B. So I'm going to go ahead and get that tracked, and then we'll keep getting the sound a little closer. 2, 3, 4. Need more kicks. Great. Take this, quantize these, force legato, which is just going to make sure all the notes line up, end to end. I'm going to continue some kicks, and we will continue that bass. So I want more thickness on that low end. So I'm going to copy this amp envelope over to amp B. And so we actually have, the cool thing about this synth is you have 2 parts, two sections, and each one has 2 oscillators. So the second one, I want it down the octave. There we go. We just want a little bit of that because that's fun. A little bit of chorus. Oh, yeah. We don't want a full mix of that, though, just a little bit. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, that's how you synth. This is drums. This is bass. We'll call it bass ARP. To set up sidechaining, it gets a little fun. We basically need to get our kick sound out so we can compress other things based on that kick drum. There we go. So we're going to bus out plus master. Actually, I'll just do straight up bus out. Let's see. Right here. So I just want bus 1. So now our kick is going to come out here. And everything else is going to come out the other channel. Cool. So now I'm going to send this to bus 1. It's going to be called SC trig. And this is not going to have an output. We're going to send it at unity pre-fader. So no matter what happens, this kick is going to this SC trig channel. It doesn't matter if I turn up or down the kick track. We just have a consistent silent trigger happening. And now we can come to our compressor and trigger it off of that. Now we're vibing. So now if we listen to it, I'm going to listen for some chord stuff. And I think there's like a little pad stab happening. Given the throne, I didn't know how to believe. Right on each downbeat. So I don't think it's that synth. I think it's something else. But if we close it up, we might be able to figure it out. That can be a layer. I don't think that's going to be like the bread and butter of the sound. Here we go. Cool. So it just kind of subtly opens. I'm going to quantize that. And we definitely need another kind of more character layer that's like less synthy and a little more cool. So I'm going to go to contact here. Let's try Analog Dreams. Oh my gosh. Such good stuff in here. Okay. Let's just start and... with a faster attack, that could be really good. More ensemble. Pull the cutoff down, push the resonance. We just want more like vibe sound. That's a good layer. So I'm just going to copy the MIDI I already recorded. Nice. So now I think there's like a little fill right there. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Something like that. Cool. So we will put this on triplet. So now it's going to be a really similar pattern for most of this stuff, but we're bringing in the snare. All right, let's see what else is in this section. I hear a piano. So the chords are a little more static now. I'm going to get this polysynth out of here. I don't like it. So that intro polysynth, I'm going to add it to verse 2 to kind of give it, or the second half of the verse, whatever you want to call it, to give it a little more excitement there, and then I'm going to add piano with it. I don't know if it holds or not. Let's check that. It does not hold, so it goes to the E minor there. So I'll just take my first half, copy it over. Let's highlight these, get those notes quantized there. I'm going to try this bass compressor, the sidechain one, on my polysynth here. See if I like that. Oh yeah, I like that. Maybe not as much. So I'll go to the output, pull the mix down a little bit. There's definitely a piano in there, and I want something not quite like clean grand piano. There's some good ones. 40's very own keys could be good. So I definitely want like classic keys sounds here. Not quite. It's kind of cool though. That'll work. Cool. I don't want like super low, but I do want some low end, so that's why I'm putting it up here. I'll roll with that because I was about to mess up again. This I won't quantize all the way because it's a piano, so add some human error into it. Oh, there's a cool fill there I want to do. And there's like kind of a tom. So let's go find a cool tom. That's kind of cool. I'm going to filter by tom. That will work, and then we can pitch it down. So just going to come to pitch, pull it down a little bit. I'll make it brighter. A little more attack. Perfect. Right here. We'll tighten that up for sure. Oh, but with the triplet feel. I'm going to actually get that snare out of there. And then that has a lot of reverb. So we're going to come to effect send 1, which is reverb. See, we want darken that. Nope. I like that. Is there a regular plate? No, you get a bright plate or you get nothing. Okay, I'm going to pull the level of that down a little bit. Let me listen to that fill. Okay, I'm going to get that rhythm in there first. Just don't judge me yet. Okay. I definitely want get those kicks in there as well. Get all of these maximum velocity. Okay, I want another clap that's just big and separate outside of my drum thing. So I'm going to go into my own samples here. Claps. That's like a classic. I'm going to get that in there. So this particular one, I just want it to be a huge throw. So I'm going to create a new bus, call this one throw. And I'm going to add ROM, which is one of my favorite reverbs for big throw type stuff. And it's like perfect right away. I'm going to definitely roll off a lot of lows and put the mix at 100 because it's on a send. So now whenever that one clap hits, it's going to go to this throw and just get drenched. Nice. Now I want kind of a shorter clap to be every fourth clap, second or fourth clap. I like this Harlem clap. So I'm going to put this on every beat 4, basically. Whoops, let me get rid of that throw. We don't need that. I'm going to get another one. I like that too. That's a good sound to add in there. Cool. So that's going to be every beat 4. Basically every other snare hit. This just gives it a nice forward momentum. It's a popular thing people do. Into the chorus, there is this big fat bass. It's a really popular bass sound. I don't know how to describe it. It's just big and kind of round or tubby or something. So we'll call this legato bass. I'm going to look in Omnisphere for this. Pretty sure the chords are the same in this whole song. Okay, so we're going to go into the browser. Omnisphere has a fantastic browser. We want synth bass, analog classics, and genre. It might be a hip hop sound. It's not that. Let's do dance. That'll do. That'll do. A little less of that bit crusher sound. Where is it? 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 Is it in the waveform? Cut off. It's so loud. I don't know why they make their patches so loud. I really don't like that sound. There we go. Is there an amount? Here we go. Just less of that. Because some level of it will help it cut through the mix. Okay, and I want slightly more glide because it's fun. All right, let me just listen to the bass part, if there's any weirdness. Okay. So only the second one kind of goes up the octave. There we go. Pretty sure it stops early there. Let me confirm. Triplet snare roll. So I know that comes in halfway through. And this stops on beat 3, I'm fairly certain. Okay, now I think there's a cool, like, ARP thing going on in there. There's an ARP thing, and there's a really nice brass sounding synth. So I want to find that brass synth because I love synth brass. Brass is really easy to find. Just open any synth you have and type brass, and it will show up. Again, super loud. I'm going to layer this with a couple different brasses because this one is a little 80s. Try to get something a little more modern. So I'm going to pull up Polymax again. And we're going to go look at that. Oh, nope, that was bass. I got excited. We're going to look for brass. Look at that. Nice. So those two together. With arrangements like this, when there's not like a large number of things going on, but it still sounds huge, you definitely want lots of layers and lots of things contributing to each element. So in this chorus, there's the synth ARP, the synth brass, like the chord support, and then the bass. And that's about it. So we need to use those three elements to get as big of a sound as possible. Wonder how that sounds with our polysynth. Yes, for sure. So let me see exactly what it is playing. So it kind of walks up. So that's with the E minor chord. That's really cool. Oh, I really like that. That's awesome. Let's get that in there. Nice. It is very 80s right now. We need to chill that out. Okay, so what makes it sound 80s is when it's hit, the filter opens and closes back. So we're going to pull the envelope down, which means less cutoff will change when the filter opens. That's already better. And filter envelope, pull it down. But now it's going to sound more rolled off, so we can in turn just open that filter up a little bit. I'm going to put this in there just to do something different with the chords and give it a little more layer. And I'm going to do the same thing, more chord support from the piano. Nice. I like to have more layers on the chorus hits because the chorus needs to sound more epic. Okay, that ARP thing, that's going to add a lot of depth. It also sounds a little brassy, just a touch. So let's search brass again. We got to be careful because too much brass can get out of hand. No. Got some phaser on it. Oh, that's cool. I actually like both of those. So I'm going to load up kind of a double here. So I'm going to go to the second layer. This is where Omnisphere just gets insane. And what was the other one? This one is Classic Juno Quick Brass. And then this one is going to be, we're going to do Chroma. And then you got to go to multi and make them both the same thing. And then now Chroma is super low, so we need to pitch it up. So we'll transpose you up an octave and come over here, transpose you up an octave. Who is being annoying? I think it's you. And I'm going to add another layer that's not that, just so we get away from that sound a little bit. So I definitely want a short synth. Maybe this one. Maybe not if it will not load. I'm going to save because I haven't saved yet. Okay. I'll mute these. Check out my new one. So he needs to go down an octave. Down. This one is just so bright. That's better. All right, I'm going to add one more because I'm having a good time. And the more we can add, honestly, the more unique it sounds and just the bigger and more impressive it sounds. So, synth short. Ooh. Is there like a sine? I know I like the sine ones. That's a good layer. So down the octave with that. Really cool. Okay. So let's see what exactly it's doing. Nice. And I'm going to send this to that throw just to really make it big. Not too much, but I'm also going to make a delay. I'm going to use Waves H delay for this. And I want quarters. Quarter. Put it in lo-fi mode because it rolls off the top. Low and high pass that. Add a little bit of depth. And less feedback. Yeah, we don't want too much of that. Wow, that is a lot of sound. Okay. Wow, how did they separate that? That is super muddy in the mix. Maybe I could try up an octave. It's also just really low. Put the brass down the octave. That might help. Down the octave you go. Nice. I'm going to take out that very last note. Select all these, quantize them. And then I want this to kind of open up as it goes. You know, do the synthy thing. Nice. Let's see what's in that gap. So this. Just adding in those extra hits. Oops. Where's... I'm going to add that somewhere. Okay, this is a cool trick I like to do to cut everything out quickly. Your DAW needs to be able to have some sort of VCA or volume control. And what we're going to do is create a new VCA. And basically everything that has long tails we want to cut out. So that would be bass, all these brass. We could throw vocal synth in there. Basically anything like that, send it to the VCA. And then I like to call this VCA cut. And then we'll create a track for it. And so now all we need to do is automate cut, and it'll take everything out of there. So I'm going to automate cut down just in this section. Boom. So now when we get there, basically all the tracks we assign there, the bass through this ARP, are just going to be gone instantly. And we need to send... maybe the throw we can also include there. Interesting. Where's it still coming from? Oh, the delay. The delay. Got it. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, finally the chords change. We have drums doing the drum thing. That reverb is a lot. Just want like a little bit. So let me get that in there. I don't know what it is, I'm guessing. Cool. So it starts at the 4, walks up to 5, and then down to 1, walks down. Here we go. We'll go ahead and get that in there. Nope, I already messed. Starts on the 4. Nice. That's all going to repeat. We need a hi-hat doing triplets, which we currently do not have. So Let's go back into space. We're going to search hi-hat closed. And here's all my hi-hats. That's the snare. Somebody's lying. Now we're getting closer. That might be good. Try hi-hat close. Not quite. I think that'll work. And we need an open hi-hat sound. That's close. I'll roll with that. So there's that. And then right before some of the snares, there's a quick little like noise open hi-hat kind of sound. Right there. Right. So it's at the fourth one. Perfect. So we'll select these. We'll get them tripleted up and make all the velocities the same. Let's bring all our claps over from before. It's not quite the right sound, but I'm going to roll with it for now. It'll work. We need a big old crash. So you can look for this in XO. This is kind of why I like XO, because you could just go cymbal and then find one you like. That's great. That's really good. And then I forget how you export it, but maybe I'll just grab it and drag, I think. Yeah. Oh, I love it. So then you find it and you just drag it out there. We don't need it both times, that's for sure. Okay, let's listen to what chords are doing. Nice classic pop structure there. Yeah, that's it. Let's do it. Get all those, get my wrong notes out of there. And actually, I'll not quantize these all the way again. I kind of liked that last time. All right. To me, it's like all hands on deck for chorus. Like any cool sounds you have, get them in there. All right, here we go. Same kind of thing. I'm gonna pull that back down a little bit. Cool. Actually, I'm going to put that in there because there is an ARP type thing going on. Cool. Here we go. Definitely got to clean that up. I did it right the first time, so I'll just copy it. I'm going to pan that hi-hat and turn it down. Okay, we never worked on this, so I'm going to add the snare in there and the clap, and I'm going to add my big throw. So these are kind of short, so I'm going to select them all and just make them a little bit longer here. All right. So the main part of this little break that's challenging is it's a vocal that they've like reversed. I was a ghost, I was alone. I was a ghost, I was alone. So they did have a cymbal in there. It sounded like a deeper cymbal though, so let me go find something a little deeper. These are all like... Oh, that's so good. We need that. We need that for sure. We need it right here. Oh, yeah. That would be good right in that break. That's better. Okay, and now we need a clap. Nope. Big cymbal. That'll work. That'll work. I'm just going to roll off some highs on that because we don't want it to get too crazy. So we have a problem with this fill because that kick triggers more. And where is it? Can't even find it now. The kick triggers more and it causes the bass to duck. So I'm just going to get a different, like a fill kick. Let's come over here, go to kick. And we could actually find this one and just get something similar. Yeah, that's good. So this goes there. He can keep going. Yeah. We can come down a little bit, and then we're going to roll off. Sorry, we're going to increase the tone so it's less low end, more high end. Let me find that note. It's going to bother me. Yeah. So I don't want any of that delay. So I'm going to go ahead and record this, a short one. And then I'm going to add a big reverb. Probably do ROM again. So now I'm going to bounce this in place. Bounce region in place. New track, leave the old track. Now we have a big old throw here. And we could come remove this reverb, bring this back to the gap, and I'm going to reverse it. And just take out that very beginning. And then we'll pull this over the gap. And we want to make sure it completely lines up. We don't have any downtime there. Yeah, cool. I think it actually ends on that snare. There we go. Obviously it's not mixed or anything, so just getting some rough levels. All right, last thing. This is just a fun EDM thing to do, white noise sweeps. So I'm going to grab, you can grab whatever synth strikes your fancy for this. I'm going to go back to silent just because I know how to set it up really quickly. And let's initialize. And we want noise. Multiple voices of noise, turn it way down. Pure noise right there. Okay. And you can add whatever stuff you want. Make it sound cool. Cool. And now, basically all I need to do is this low pass. That control. So I'll just park it for now and we'll record some of that in there. So coming up to the chorus. We'll have 2 bars up, 4 bars down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And then we just need to map that in. Cool. So we got these. We will quantize them, legato them. And now we just need to write that in. So I'm going to go into automation, silent, filter A cutoff. And now we map this in there. And then that's going to come back down. And now we can just add this kind of thing in wherever we want it. So if we want like a 4-bar increase here, whoops. I personally like to reattack the note, but you don't have to. This is going to cut off right there on beat 3. So we'll fade it back up. Yeah, cool. And then another big crash when it lands. So I will just grab the marquee because the automation's already in there, and we will move this over and just double check. Okay, the automation did not follow, so we'll add it back in. There we go. And then I want this one to be kind of the brightest. If your electronic stuff is not sounding epic, try adding noise sweeps like this because it really does go a long way into getting the sound, if that makes sense. Finally, the last thing I do on almost every mix is I add CLA mixdown just because it makes it really good really quickly. You can also add Waves AQ if you use it. It's just going to listen to your whole mix and generate a kind of mix bus curve for you. So I really like doing that too. Yep. Here's the final track from start to finish from what I created. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments if you still have any questions or would like me to do another song in this style. Thanks so much for watching, and here's the full track.